Welcome to World Travel Market 2011, and as they say, follow that. We wanted to fill the room with adrenaline this morning for our own opening ceremony. Now, admittedly, it may not be quite as elaborate as a certain opening ceremony you're going to see in London in 2012, and we're going to talk a lot more about that. But nonetheless, we have what I believe is going to be an exciting and an illuminating opening ceremony of our own this morning here at WTM. Let me introduce myself first of all. I'm Stephen Sacker. I present a show called Hard Talk on the BBC World News Channel. It goes out, of course, in the UK as well on our own news channel. It's made me quite a familiar figure around the world, I suppose, but I know I'm quite a familiar figure to many of you because this, I'm proud to say, is my, I believe it's 6th time hosting the opening of WTM, and I keep coming back because I've made so many friends here. I think this industry is so important, and I think today we're going to learn again in difficult times just how resilient and important this industry continues to be right across the world. Now, I'm not going to speak for too long because we've got an awful lot to get through in the next hour or so, but I just thought by way of opening remarks, it might be worth considering just what an important and exciting year the coming year is going to be in London. And I'm not just thinking about the fact that there's going to be a WTM in 2012. Of course there is, but there's something more important than that even, and that is London's Olympics. And it's going to be a theme running through this morning, looking at what the Olympics means to London, what it means to the travel business, and also introducing you to one particular Olympic hero. I don't know if you saw any of your own particular heroes in that short montage of winners, but I can guarantee you, I'm not going to give it all away, but you're going to meet somebody who has a fantastic Olympic track record of their own in the coming minutes. I think it's also perhaps time for me to say these are tough times. You know, it's funny, I was walking up here today at the grand entrance to the ExCeL, and of course all the flags flying were Greek. And I thought for a minute, I thought, God, have I come to the WTM or the IMF? But thank goodness this is Greece saying to the world that whatever problems it has, whatever economic issues Europe faces, the tourism business goes on. It's extraordinarily important for that country. And I speak as a reporter and presenter who travels around the world a very great deal. I've actually just come back from Egypt, where of course 2011 has been a momentous year as well. And I can tell you there that the tourism business, it has taken a blow. Numbers are down this year, but it is fighting back very hard. I was in Aswan just a week ago talking to investors, talking to people running hotels down there, and they are determined that in the end, 2011 will be seen as a moment of opportunity for them and their industry in Egypt as change sweeps across the Arab world. So wherever we look, whether it be in Europe, whether it be in the Middle East, whether it be in the global economy as a whole, there are huge challenges this year. WTM is going to talk about them, it's going to address them, but I think the message is that, as in previous years, resilience, strength, good business can win out, and win out, I'm sure many of you will, in the coming year. So with that thought from me, let me now get on with the business of this morning. We're going to have our own awards ceremony. Again, maybe not quite as elaborate as those we'll see in London next year, but we've got a lot of awards to look forward to, and I know many of you are here to see who's won our big global awards this year. We'll do that a little bit later, but for now, my first privilege is to introduce the chairman of World Travel Market, Fiona Jeffries. So Fiona, if you would, please come to the stage.
Thank you, Stephen. Secretary of State, the Right Honourable Jeremy Hunt, Baroness Morris, Chairman of World Travel Markets Advisory Council, Abu Dhabi, World Travel Markets Premier Partner for 2011, Talib Rifai, Secretary General for the United Nations World Tourism Organization, our very own British Olympian, James Cracknell, distinguished guests and friends. Steve Jobs, who sadly died last month, the genius founder of Apple and mastermind behind that most iconic global invention of the age, the iPhone, had a number one hero. It was Henry Ford, another great visionary, who almost exactly 103 years ago this month launched his first car to the masses. Later, Ford was to memorably say, "If I'd asked my customers what they wanted, they'd have said a faster horse." Admittedly, we've moved on since those heady days in the dawn of the last century, but those words still, just occasionally, ring true. And given the world's economic uncertainty, in my view, now is such a moment. A time when perhaps we all have something to learn from Henry Ford as he proudly unveiled his gleaming motor car, puffing and clanking in front of an admiring audience. Travel and tourism, too, has those flashes of brilliance. Innovative, dazzling moments when the commercial path twists and turns in unexpected and spectacularly successful ways. When travel organisations take a leap of faith with a new product, a product that the consumer may not even know he or she wants. The Asian travel industry, for example, is identifying innovative mobile technology to deliver customer needs, rather than simply copying what the European and American industry is doing. Innovation, of course, is nothing new for the travel industry. In fact, we've been doing it for years, showing the world incredible enterprise and competitive skills. However, I'm not going to paint an unrelenting rosy picture. As you know, the global economic situation, particularly affecting the Eurozone, the States, and of course the UK, is serious. It's probably been the toughest time for some travel companies in living memory. Experts are forecasting a marked drop in living standards with rising inflation, tax increases, higher food prices, and stagnant wage growth, inevitably putting huge strains on household budgets. Here in Britain, we aptly call it the squeezed middle. I'm delighted, though, that Japan's tourism is showing a marked recovery after the country's most powerful earthquake in March hit the northeast coast, triggering a massive tsunami. Our thoughts go out to Thailand, where just recently there's been severe flooding, and also eastern Turkey hit by a devastating earthquake last month. But although many destinations and companies are experiencing a challenging time right now, according to our friends at the UN WTO, international tourism still grew by almost 5% in the first half of this year. Regardless of immense problems, from economic uncertainty, harsh austerity measures to political unrest and security issues, the industry has applied innovation, ingenuity, and those occasional flashes of brilliance to consolidate the return to growth which started back in 2010. Development of advanced economies is up by more than 4%, closing the gap on emerging markets, which are up by nearly 5%, and which of late have been driving international tourism. I remind you of these figures because hopefully they'll induce a degree of warmth in testing times, and because governments should pay more attention to the industry's indisputable achievements, helping, not hindering, giving the industry the attention and the mechanisms it needs to reach an ever-growing potential. The global travel and tourism industry is one of the largest and most dynamic industries in today's global economy, providing more than 235 million jobs last year and representing 8% of international employment. Travel and tourism can and should be leading the way in helping to get the world out of the doldrums, and governments must recognise the critical role that the industry plays in economic performance. International tourist arrivals are forecast to reach 1.8 billion by 2030. Growth is expected to continue for at least the next 20 years, even though at a slower pace. Yet governments don't often support the efforts of the travel industry to exceed the current 9% contribution to GDP. The UK government, for example, plans to increase the rate of air passenger duty for the fourth time in 5 years, causing immense concern among the UK travel industry and potentially weakening this country's position. The cost of travelling to the UK is already a major factor affecting Britain's competitiveness in attracting visitors from the new growth markets such as China and India. An announcement is due at the end of this month, and given what the UK travel industry can undoubtedly do to assist the economy, the industry believes this proposal is ill-considered. There has been similar widespread condemnation of a proposed $25 billion tax on airline passengers in the United States. The industry says, please think again. As I've often said to you in the past, World Travel Market is shaped by you and for you, bringing the international industry together in a way that's not done anywhere else. With nearly 5,000 companies from 182 countries, our goal is to help examine the issues and concerns, to bring you facts and figures about developments and trends, to discuss common problems, identifying issues. Above all, facilitating good business that helps boost the bottom line. We try to do it in a truthful and independent way, without bias or propaganda, clearing away the bluster and the PR speak to get to the heart of the matter. That's the reason, for example, World Travel Market is next year expanding its successful mid-year vision conferences to Moscow and Shanghai, offering senior delegates access to the latest research, market intelligence, and industry opinion. This week at World Travel Market, we've gathered together more than 300 expert speakers and captains of industry, taking part in no fewer than 110 at seminars, conferences, and events, World Travel Market's biggest programme ever. We're delighted to host in partnership with the UN WTO, World Travel Market's 5th highly respected Ministers' Summit tomorrow, bringing together public and private sectors. We've organised for the first time an extensive social media programme, and Harriet Lamb, Executive Director of the Fairtrade Foundation, which has dramatically transformed shopping habits and improved the lives of millions across the globe, is officially opening WTM World Responsible Tourism Day on Wednesday, again in association with the UN WTO. Responsible tourism is no longer just a nice thing to do. It's vital for every destination and company at the very highest level. On Wednesday afternoon, we turn to a subject that should be front of mind for every country, destination, and operator in the world: the impending explosion in growth of the BRICS economies. This is a key means of acquiring new business, but only for those who prepare ahead. Thursday is World Travel Market Business Day, which enjoyed such success last year. As company bosses battle against a background of poor consumer confidence, faltering economies, and banks that refuse to give loans, World Travel Market's Business Day offers a whole range of expert help and fresh ideas geared to give management of small and medium-sized travel-related businesses a helping hand. We've also improved World Travel Market's speed networking, increasing the opportunity for exhibitors and Meridian Club buyers to create appointments and improve their business capability on the show floor. Last year, deals worth £1.4 billion were conducted at World Travel Market. And finally, our sports tourism programme features 3 debates this year, demonstrating the increasingly important role sports plays in the economic development of some of the world's cities, regions, and countries. Sports tourism is also included in this year's opening ceremony, but with a special focus on inspiration. World Travel Market has always tried to inspire the world, to raise our game and that of the industry. We try to lift World Travel Market's performance, assisting the industry to attain that indefinable quality, driving levels of innovation and creativity to make an even greater contribution. James Cracknell, OBE, is the perfect embodiment of the word inspiration. As one of Britain's most successful athletes of all time, he's won 2 Olympic gold medals and 6 World Championship titles. His epic rowing finals in Sydney 2000 and Athens 2004 were 2 of the most watched sporting contests in history. But it's since retiring that James has distinguished himself as a very special and inspiring sportsman and all-round international adventurer. Last year, for example, James finished 12th in the Marathon des Sables, the toughest foot race on earth. He then turned his attentions to a new challenge: cycling, running, rowing, and swimming from Los Angeles to New York in record time. It was during this trip, though, that James suffered a near-fatal accident after being struck from behind by a truck while cycling through Arizona. After a difficult 6-month recovery period, James went on to complete the coldest race on earth. Take a look at James's winning formula. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a true Olympic hero, James Cracknell.
Good morning. Thanks very much. Yeah, that little lad on the podium there at the Athens Olympics that's slightly older at 8 than he does there. And I noticed the pictures look a bit more grainy than the other ones who won in Beijing. So it does give away the age, although it doesn't hide away the inspiration of sport. In fact, when applying for tickets for the games next year, I asked my little boy what he wanted to go and see. And he said he wanted, like most people, I want to watch the 100 metres. And I was like, ooh, that may be popular. and obviously apply, and he get told that 1 million people have applied to watch the 100 metres. So I tell him that. He knows two numbers, 1 and 1 million, basically. And 1 million's a lot. And he said, maybe he'll come for a sleepover. At which point, I'm not sure whether to break it to him that if Usain Bolt had won the 100 metres, he may choose to have a sleepover somewhere else. But the power of sport is not lost on him. And when I was at school, it wasn't lost on me either. The people that I've stayed in touch with since school have been the ones that I did sport with, either on a social or competitive level, because there is that shared bond. And it was when I was at school that the Olympics first came into my mind. We had a Kingston Borough Sports Day. It's a town in southwest London. And handing out the prize at the end of the day was an athlete called Daley Thompson. He was a track and field athlete, British guy. He won a gold medal in Moscow and in Los Angeles in the decathlon. And he came down, he brought his medals down, I got to touch them. By the end of the day, I knew I wasn't going to win one in the 100 metres, but I think the seed of the Olympics had been sown. And that kept with me for a long time, because although I raced at the two Olympics you saw there, I was selected for two other Olympics, and I broke my shoulder a couple of months before the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, and I got tonsillitis the day of the opening ceremony in Atlanta. So I was there and then put in a quarantine room. And I think the proudest achievement of mine is not necessarily winning, it's the fact that despite having setbacks, I didn't lose the belief or the passion and the approach to winning the Olympics and thinking I could get there. And that's why I carried on to Sydney. And I can honestly say that it's not because Well, in fact, our World Championships, the crowds aren't quite as big at the Olympics, and the TV audience isn't quite as big, even though you are racing the same people. But for me, it was not to do with the crowd. It was the fact that I had got to a position where I could win what I'd set myself. And that's the most important thing I've learned, is that you may be at this level and you think, okay, winning the Olympics is here, and you've got to plot a pathway to get there. And if you can take the stepping stones and make the bridge from here to here, you have the chance of winning. And that was, for me, something you can take into other areas of your life. If you believe you can achieve something and make your way to getting to a point to achieve it, it's phenomenally powerful. And over the last year, since I did have an accident in the States, that I've realized the difference between having an objective target in sport, where your fitness is easily measurable, to recovering from an accident which affects your injury to your brain is very subjective. And people are very quick to impose glass ceilings on you of, well, you'll never do that again. And if you're the sort of person that listens to those glass ceilings, you will never reach where you want to reach. And that's the same whether it be developing a new region for tourism, or achieving something in sport, or believing you'll get back to doing what you were doing. If you listen to people that are saying you won't do that, as a 15-year-old kid, if you say, I'm going to win the Olympics, everyone will go, yeah, it's very nice. And if you hear that enough times, you won't believe you can get there. And that's the important thing, whether it be sport, recovering, or in a business. If you listen to people who impose those ceilings, you won't reach where you want to reach. And that kind of brings me onto London, that every Olympics has its issues. They get awarded 7 years ahead of time, and the Sydney Olympics, Homebush, which is where the Olympic Park is, which is obviously just near here. Some of the Olympic venues Olympic sports will be done at Excel. Homebush is a long way outside Sydney, so they struggled with the having the Olympic Park and the stadium feeling close to Sydney, whereas we're lucky to have an area that needed redevelopment so close to London. So it will have a massive impact. So Sydney suffered a little bit from those problems. Athens, their security budget skyrocketed because 9/11 happened between them getting awarded the games and then delivering the games. Beijing is a very different way of funding Olympics, because it was an advert for China, whereas we're incredibly lucky in London to have a very inquisitive press which makes sure you justify everything. And also London will be the first Olympics to have an absolutely background data on how it was constructed, the environmental impact, the sustainability of the games, that can then be used by other host cities. And that's the crucial thing, that you cannot justify an Olympics coming just because of 2 weeks of Olympic sport and 2 weeks of Paralympic sport. It has to have a bigger impact on the country, and it is an advert for our country in which we're going to get tourists coming. We want to realise that there is more to London than the sport, and that is going to be so obvious by the iconic landmarks and the things that people bring here. And from a health perspective, we have sport in the headlines for 7 years, and that is a huge amount of time. I first rode on the Royal Albert Dock, which is on the outside of the Excel here, in the 1980s, and there has been government grants have helped it grow, and there is a rowing centre there, but that's nothing compared to the level of infrastructure and support that has come into play over the 7 years since we won the Olympics in 2005. And that's really, really crucial, that you get an advert for this city. And hopefully you'll take that away, and as will the 12,000 key opinion leaders, athletes, and the 12,000 press that come, of what a great city this is, not just to compete, but to come and visit as well. So hopefully you'll take that away with you and enjoy the fair. Thank you very much.
Do you want to sit down, and then I'll come back get you later. Thank you, James. No one can be failed to be inspired by what James has done. or to look forward to what's a very different kind of Olympic and Paralympic Games here in London, just as James has outlined. And hardly surprising that we're really interested in looking at what's going on in our own backyard. What's different about these Games is its international inspiration. London 2012's unique international sports legacy programme, enriching the lives of 12 million children in 20 countries through sport. In a modest way, it's a feature that the world travel market shares with the Games, reaching out to people, breaking down cultural and geographical barriers, fostering peace and understanding, helping participants to make friends, and cementing close bonds that can often last a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm welcome to World Travel Market's guest of honour and official opener, the Right Honourable Jeremy Hunt, Secretary of State for Culture, the Olympics, Media and Sport.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. One of the perils of my job as being the Secretary of State who's responsible not just for tourism but also for the Olympics is that I get to follow a lot of people like James Cracknell, who are totally inspiring, unbelievably fit and athletic and talented. And I think we've seen this morning just how impressive he is. Just before he came up on the stage to talk to you, he was telling me about the Marathon des Sables, which is this extraordinary feat where I think you run 6 marathons, one after the other, in the deserts of North Africa. And James said to me, the thing is, all I had to do was run. I didn't have to do any emails at all. And that was his kind of perspective on it. Anyway, it is incredibly inspiring to have people like James here, and a great honour to follow you, James. I first came to the World Travel Market 19 years ago as a delegate. Little did I know then that I would one day have the honour of opening it. The reason I came then was because the first business I ever set up was in the tourism industry. It was a very small publishing business producing maps of London for tourists who were coming to London that we gave out free of charge at Heathrow. It flopped, unfortunately, but it did lead on to another business that ended up being more successful. But I always remembered Churchill saying that success is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. And I think that's a good motto for politics as well as for business. And I just want to talk about how next year's Olympic Games is going to be a huge opportunity for the tourism industry. Because as James said, inspiration is the essence of any Olympic year, and it will certainly be our watchword when it comes to tourism in the UK in 2012. The Games offer us a unique chance to show just how valuable global tourism can be to the global economy, and yes, to issues of world concern like sustainability, climate change, and poverty that are rightly the focus of people's minds today. To make the most of this extraordinary year, we know the tourism industry needs to know that it has government on its side. That's why one of the first major speeches I gave as Secretary of State within a month of taking office was about tourism. That's why with John Penrose, we have for the first time a dedicated tourism minister, dedicated to tourism and also dedicated in his commitment to his job. And I appreciate that in doing that we are playing catch up with what many other countries have done so well for very many years. But that is also why we have a new tourism strategy, a new way of doing business, curbing bureaucracy, creating a more nimble, bottom-up, industry-led way of working in the digital age. And it's why we're now getting our teeth into more than 60 different regulations holding back the hospitality sector, from simplifying licensing to scrapping rules on where you need to place no smoking signs. I'm not saying that we've cracked every issue just yet, but we are listening and we are responding. And we're doing this because we know that a strong UK economy depends upon a strong UK tourism sector. It is our fifth biggest industry and could become one of our fastest growing sectors over the next 10 years, supporting as many as 3 million jobs by 2020. And Fiona's right to say that unlocking the huge markets of India and China is key. Forecasts tell us that the number of visits from China alone could triple in the next decade. And we're seeing this already, with visitors from China up by a quarter in 2010, and in the first 8 months of this year, numbers have risen again by a third. Let's remember that the average Chinese visitor spends about 3 times more than the typical visitor whilst they're here. Our Chinese friends love to shop, and we provide plenty of opportunities in Britain for them to do just that, as the previous Chinese ambassador to the UK told David Cameron, if we want more Chinese visitors, all we need to do is to build more Bicester villages. So the opportunity is there, the potential is there, but so is the challenge. As Fiona says, events in Thailand and Egypt show us that global tourism markets are fragile in the face of natural disaster or political upheaval. Though as we see from outbound tourism in Japan, they can also be amazingly resilient. In the UK, our tourism industry isn't free from its own problems, but there are some encouraging signs. And here are some doom-busting statistics. Visits to the UK from overseas residents are up 7% in the second quarter of 2011. That's 2% higher than the global 5% growth. Tourism spend is 3% higher in the year up to August, and domestic visitor spend in the first 6 months is also up 10% on 2010. In the last year, the UK has also risen to third in the nation's brand index, and that shows improving global recognition, I hope, of our charms and our strengths as a tourism destination, and it's something that should give us real confidence as we look forward. Next year is a big opportunity to push on. Never again will the UK hold such a sustained and inspirational sequence of world-class events. The Diamond Jubilee in June, building on this year's royal wedding, a fantastic moment of national celebration. The great London 2012 festival, more than 1,000 events planned around the country, from music and pyrotechnics on Lake Windermere to an epic peace symphony in Birmingham. Then next year we have the Torch Relay, Britain's own fiesta moment with 8,000 torchbearers carrying the Olympic flame through 1,000 villages, towns and cities throughout the UK during May, June and July. And then, of course, the main event itself, the 30th Olympic and Paralympic Games, the biggest sporting event in the world, coming to one of the greatest cities in the world. So we have high hopes for next year. But we're also mindful of what Shakespeare said about expectations being the root of all heartache. Previous Olympics, we know, haven't always been plain sailing when it comes to tourism benefits. So if we want to buck the trend and defy the tourism dip that other Olympic hosts have experienced in the past, then we need a clear plan. Visit Britain has therefore already launched its biggest ever marketing campaign to promote the UK across our key markets. And I pay tribute to Chris Rodriguez, Sandy Dorr and their team at Visit Britain for the work that they have done. We are now pushing this even further with the Prime Minister, the Chancellor and other colleagues across government to put tourism at the heart of our growth ambitions. The result is that tourism has now taken centre stage in a much wider campaign, which we're calling the Great Campaign, that the Prime Minister launched in New York a few weeks ago. GREAT is a single, integrated campaign for all international facing parts of the government, allowing us to speak with one voice to promote the UK as a place to visit, a place to live, a place to study, and a place to invest in. It's no small vote of confidence in this sector and the key role we think it will play in the UK recovery that the lion's share of the £39 million of additional money in the Great Campaign will go to support Visit Britain's tourism activities. The combined Visit Britain Great campaign now has £127 million behind it, and it's being rolled out across our top priority markets, including the emergent economies of China, India and Brazil, expected to generate 4.6 million additional visitors, more than £2 billion of visitor spend, and nearly 60,000 additional jobs in the next 4 years. Let's not forget as well that this is the opportunity of a lifetime to support what has often been a poor relation in tourism priorities, and that is our domestic tourism industry. Today, the route for the 2012 Torch Relay is announced, an 8,000-mile procession with 8,000 torchbearers featuring shows, events, festivals in every part of the country. It really will be a great British celebration, a time for families and communities to come out and enjoy their own Olympic moment in their own country. The torch will shine a light on Britain at its best, and it's therefore the perfect moment to promote holidays at home. And our ambition is to get the same proportion of people holidaying in the UK as go abroad for their vacation. And this will drive Visit England's campaigns, and especially its new scheme offering a unique discount of 20.12% in 2012 for people who choose to have their holiday at home. The campaign will run throughout next year, backed with heavyweight TV advertising, and I'm pleased that major names are already lining up behind it, with Bourne Leisure, Ho Seasons, Super Break, the Eden Project and the Coach Tourism Council among those already backing the scheme. Over 3 years, we expect Visit England's campaign to generate 12,000 new jobs, nearly £500 million of additional tourism spend, and 5.3 million more nights away on short breaks. And I congratulate James Beresford and his team on their work to achieve that. As much as 2012 will define this country, it will also define the reputation of the UK tourism industry. It will serve as a test as to how well we rise to the challenges and opportunities of an Olympic year, a test too of our commitment to tourism as a global force for economic growth and increasing international understanding. And so next year we will host a World Tourism Summit with ministers from 20 of the world's top tourism destinations coming together to discuss the power of event tourism. It's a chance for governments to come together to reflect on 2012, to learn what we intend to achieve in the UK, and to encourage new ideas and new ways of looking at events tourism in the future. So that takes me to the point I started with, that as much as next year is about amazing sport and top-class performance, it's also about inspiring a long-term legacy. It's very much in our hands to shape and influence what we take from 2012, and as a government we want to facilitate this and make sure next year is the best ever Games for tourism. The World Travel Market as a forum for discovery, for new ideas, fresh connections, and yes, some magic and inspiration too, is another step on this journey. So I hope you enjoy the event. I hope you enjoy the week. I wish you every success in your businesses in the year ahead. And now the words that I'm told I must not omit. It is my great pleasure to formally declare World Travel Market 2011 open for business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary of State. Thank you, Jeremy, and of course to James and Fiona as well. This is the one opportunity I get, ladies and gentlemen, to order around a cabinet minister, because I can tell Jeremy he's got to stay on the stage right now. It doesn't happen often, believe me. Now, we are going to, with the magnificent stride of an Usain Bolt, go straight into the awards, the global awards, which are a feature of this opening ceremony every year at WTM. WTM has partnerships with a global network of media and publishing companies. They have nominated 10 winners for excellence in tourism, global awards. So there are 10 of them to give out today. I am going to run it like this. I will announce one by one the award winners. When I announce an award winner, you will learn a little bit more about them on the big screen videos. I will then ask the winning the winner to come up with the representative of the publishing house which gave that particular award. It will all, believe me, be absolutely seamless. Just watch it fall apart over the next 20 minutes. But we'll start right now, and we'll start in North America, indeed in Canada. So our first global award goes to the Travel Corporation of Canada. It is handed out by the Canadian Travel Press.
The Travel Corporation creates rich, enjoyable experiences for customers all around the world, but its management firmly believes in protecting the features that make a destination unique. Spearheaded by President and CEO Brett Tolman and the Global Managing Director of Contiki Holidays, David Hosking, the Conservation Foundation is at the heart of the corporation's efforts to promote sustainable travel. The foundation has supported work in environmentally threatened areas like the Atlantic Forest in Brazil and Egypt's Nile River. So far, it's provided more than $2 million to organisations like the World Wildlife Fund, Tourism Cares, the World Travel and Tourism Council, and many others.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the stage winner Jeff Element, President of the Travel Corporation of Canada, along with David McClung of the Canadian Travel Press. Well done. Well done indeed. Thank you very much. And Jeff, well done. Let's move from North America to Europe, ladies and gentlemen. Our second global award is all about Italy, nominated by l'Agenzia di Viaggi, and it goes to Anna Mariana Ruffini, founder of Italy's chapter of the Green Meeting Industry Council.
Anna Maria Ruffini is founder and president of Italy's chapter of the Green Meeting Industry Council. It's the first branch formed outside the United States, developing good sustainable practice for global meetings and incentives. Anna Maria, who's owner of the Rome-based Incentives House, Events In and Out, launched the chapter last year. It's already starting to make a difference, supporting and resourcing Italy's meetings professionals. The Green Meeting Industry Council Italy, as it's known, is now one of many international outposts of the US-based association. As well as 5 US chapters, there's development activity elsewhere in Europe, in Canada, and in Mexico.
So, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for Anna Maria Ruffini, along with Cristina Ambrosini of l'Agenzia di Viaggi. Well done. Coming close to home now, as Jeremy said, tourism is a hugely important industry here in the UK. The nominating company for this award is the UK's Travel Weekly. And the winning company, I know a little bit about. I'm a native of a town called Skegness in Lincolnshire, which is home, I'm proud to say, to one of the holiday ventures run by the winning company. That is Butlins. Well done, Butlins.
Butlins is an iconic British holiday brand, which this year celebrates its 75th birthday. Founded by Sir Billy Butlin to provide affordable holidays for UK families, the company has continued to evolve in the face of stiff competition from holidays abroad. In recent years, capital investment to the tune of £116 million has upgraded pretty much all of Butlin's accommodation, restaurants and other facilities. Taken over by Bourne Leisure in 2000, Butlins is now part of a portfolio including Warner Leisure Hotels and Haven Holidays.
Well, I can tell you, Butlins didn't look quite like that when I was a kid. But anyway, well done to them. They couldn't be here to collect the award, but Lucy Huxley, Editor-in-Chief of Travel Weekly, is here to receive it on their behalf. So Lucy, if you're here, please do come out and get the award. Right, moving on to Russia next. We're on our fourth global award. This one sponsored by Tour Business, and the winner is the Renaissance Hotel in Moscow.
The five-star Renaissance Moscow Hotel, which opened in 1991, is now managed by Marriott International. The 481 luxury bedrooms, not to mention the 10 suites and executive floor, have been honoured with many awards and accolades over the years. I mean, the Renaissance is generally accepted as the hotel in Moscow. It's the choice of the Russian government and many major companies for key political and business meetings in the capital. This year alone, the hotel has so far hosted over 300 events.
Please welcome Renaissance Hotel's General Director, Emont Ilya Alexandrovich, and the publisher of Tour Business Russia, Ivan Kalashnikov. Welcome both. Well done. Congratulations. From Russia to the Middle East, a region I know very well. Now, the sponsors of this award, TTN Middle East, and they have chosen to receive it this year, Omar Samra, who is founder of Wild Guanabana.
Fed up with banking and 15-hour days behind a desk, Omar Samra set out on a 2-week bike trip exploring Andalusia. It was a journey that would change his life forever. 2.5 years ago, that journey culminated in the launch of Wild Guanabana, a green travel company specializing in once-in-a-lifetime wild and wonderful experiences that are safe, ethical, and sustainable. Based in Cairo, Samra has now set up an office in Dubai and is the Middle East's first operator to cap his business's carbon footprint. Last year, Wild Guanabana's Right to Climb charity trek took 26 climbers to the summit of Kilimanjaro.
Well, please welcome Omar Samra, and to present the award, Kim Thompson from TTN Middle East. Hello, Kim. Well done, Omar. Well done, well done. I'd like the look of that sandboarding as well. Now, we're on to number 6 already. We are going to move to, where are we moving to? India. It is the turn of India now, with our partners Trav Talk there, who have chosen for this year's prize Dr. Mrs. Jyotsna Suri, chairperson of the Lalit Group.
Dr. Jyotsna Suri has been associated with the hospitality group her late husband Lalit Suri founded from its inception. She's been running things herself since his death in 2006. Her determination and drive go far beyond hospitality. She heads up one of India's fastest growing privately owned hotel companies, with a portfolio of 5-star properties in key destinations around India and overseas. Dr. Suri is an international executive committee member of the World Travel and Tourism Council. She also chairs the Tourism Committee of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce. And Dr. Suri follows in the footsteps of her husband today. He also won the prestigious World Travel Market Global Award.
So, keeping it in the family, Dr. Suri, please come up and receive your award now, along with Mr. Sanjeet from Travtalk. And well done indeed. Well done. Well done, Dr. Suri. Portugal next, ladies and gentlemen. This award sponsored by Publituris, and the award winners this year, the Porto Bay Hotel and Resort.
Porto Bay Hotels and Resorts has properties in Portugal, Madeira and Brazil, and is pledged to the principles of product, promotion and people. The chain started out with the idea of building hotels to be a precise fit for the market in facilities, services and positioning. Over the last 2 years alone, Porto Bay has chalked up a staggering total of over 60 awards from respected industry brands like Thomas Cook, Thomson Holidays and Expedia. Winning this global award with World Travel Market's Portuguese media partner, Publituris, will further fill an already crowded trophy cabinet.
So congratulations to Porto CEO Antonio Trindade, who should come up now, please, with Ruben Israel Obadia, Director of WTM's partner Publituris. Well done. Congratulations. All right, whizzing just across the Iberian Peninsula, let's go to Spain, our 8th global award. It's awarded by Hostel Tour, and it goes to the Spanish Public Railway Service, Renfe.
Renfe, a Spanish public rail operator, has made a huge impact on a highly popular tourist destination, and not just through its passenger services. The regular Iberian link delivers freight from 3 Portuguese ports to a Madrid hub overnight, and then onwards to other Spanish cities like Zaragoza, Barcelona and Valencia. The new service is an efficient alternative to road freight and has eased traffic congestion for holidaymakers. And where tourists are themselves travelling by rail, Renfe's modern high-speed passenger trains are also bringing Spanish cities closer together.
So please welcome Enrique Urquijo, General Manager of Renfe, along with Joaquin Molina, Editor of Hostel Tour. Well done. Congratulations. Now to Brazil, our penultimate award, number 9. We're off to Brazil. Our Brazilian media partner who made the award is Mercado and Eventos. And the winner is Caio Luis de Carvalho, President of Sao Paulo Tourism.
Caio Luis de Carvalho is one of Brazil's most respected travel and tourism leaders. He's dramatically raised his cities and his country's profile as a destination. In the past, he's headed up Brazil's National Secretary of Tourism and Services, been President of Embratur, and also Minister of Sport and Tourism. During his presidency at Sao Paulo, Mr. Carvalho has had great success in moving the city out of the shadow of better-known destinations on the sun and beach circuit, like Rio de Janeiro and Salvador. Since 2004, Sao Paulo has seen a rise in visitors of nearly 38%, generating in the process almost 500,000 jobs.
Find yourself in São Paulo. Unimaginable.
And I'm happy to say that he's made it all the way from Sao Paulo, so please welcome Caio Luis de Carvalho, along with Director of Mercado and Eventos, Rosa Mascral. No, she's not here.
Like Taylor.
Well done. So, it's our last one. It's number 10. And this one, we're going back to North America where we began, this time to the United States. The award made by the Travel Weekly US publication. The winner, the Sandals Foundation.
Even in these tough times, the Sandals Foundation, the philanthropic arm of Sandals Resorts International, is transforming communities throughout the Caribbean, where the company operates. It supports projects across education, the environment, and the wider community, bettering lives and preserving the island's beautiful scenery. The foundation receives requests for assistance every day and helps where possible. Perhaps the greatest frustration is not being able to support everyone who comes to its door.
And here to collect the award is Wayne Cummings, Director of Business Processes and Administration for Sandals Resorts International, and Adam Stewart, CEO of Sandals Resorts, along with Arnie Weissman, who works Travel Weekly in the United States. Well done. I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think at the end of all 10 awards, we should give a big hand both to all of the winners and indeed to Fiona, to Jeremy Hunt, and to James Cracknell as well. Thank you very much.